night. Losing 10 more pounds. Nice, Brandon. Arisha said, scale my business to 7 figures and expand my team further. Love it. What's your business, Carisha?
I actually own a digital marketing agency.
Very cool.
Thank you.
So you just, you have like private clients, you do all their marketing for them?
Correct. Yeah, we actually work with startups right now. Startups is our big one. Tech and SaaS companies are like my number one ICP. Funny it didn't start like that, but
Okay.
they're the ones that gravitated to me. But yeah, we work with startups and growing small businesses.
Awesome. How long have you been doing that?
It's gonna be 2 years now. It's actually, yeah,
Nice.
2 years. Coming up this year. But I've been a serial entrepreneur for like over 10 years. So this is my third like successful business.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, my girlfriend's in marketing, but she does marketing for Marriott. I've been telling her she should do, kind of her own thing or start working on that, but we'll see.
It actually starts like
All
that.
right,
It actually starts like that. I started working with the company. I was working at Uber, and that's what pushed me because I was doing all their global marketing. It pushed me out of that. So, and I wanted to do it for myself. So, it definitely starts like that, and I definitely think she should because she can make a lot of money. It's $1 billion industry.
Wow. All right. I'm gonna get her in contact with you or something. I'm like convince her. All right, cool. So let's see. I think we could probably get started, Steve, if you're ready. Edie said travel more. I want to travel more too. Steve's one of our strategists. He'll do a little intro. My name's Saul. We'll be here every Wednesday. Sometimes speaking, sometimes hosting, and I'm one of the strategists at TrueVeer, and I just try and help people any way I can. So, Steve, you have the floor.
Okay, thanks, Saul.
Take it away.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Hey. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yes. All good.
Yes.
It was all silent. I was kind of like, oh man, messed up. So anyway, my name is Steve Gonzales. I'm one of the financial strategists here with TrueVeer Financial. And I'm going to share with you tonight, topic is peace of mind with fixed index annuities. Whether you're familiar with annuities or not, it doesn't really matter. My feeling is annuities are a very important piece of a financial portfolio, and I have experience with annuities personally. So to backtrack with that, back in the year like 2020, I got a little card through the mail one day and just come to this retirement seminar. I was at one of the local restaurants where I live in Vallejo, down on the waterfront. And I was familiar with the place, and it was good food. So my wife and I, we said, hey, let's go check it out. We'll go and kind of semi pay attention and go and have a nice, good meal and kind of have a night out. We were empty nesters at the time, and so we did that. And we went with the intention of not doing anything and just kind of halfway paying attention. And then the information we got was so impactful. And so the company that was putting it on, we ended up working with them and taking out an annuity. So that's my story, my familiar with annuities. So without that information, I would not be here presenting this tonight, and I would not be where I'm at working with TrueVeer Financial. We're talking about fixed index annuities. Like I said, I have personal experience with taking an annuity out. So in an unpredictable financial world, finding security and growth can feel overwhelming. Fixed annuities offer a unique solution that combines safety, the safety you need with the growth potential that you want, all while protecting what matters most, your retirement dreams. So we're going to talk about the fixed annuities. It's a trifecta of retirement planning. So this is not an end all be all. This is important to work with your financial advisor, and it's something that goes along with whatever you currently have going. So basically what it does is it protects your principal and protection that shields from market volatility and confidence that lets you sleep soundly at night, whether you're approaching retirement or already enjoying it. Understanding these powerful financial tools can transform how you think about your future. We'll break down complex concepts into clear, actionable insights that empower your decision making. So the key to these with the fixed annuities is protect your principal from the downswings in the market. So things are kind of crazy right now with the stock market in that. One day it's up, next day it's down. So it's up and down, up and down. So with the annuities, they secure the money that you put into them where you'll never lose money at all. The key thing is protection against market downturns with the annuities. The markets decline, your principal remains intact. You're shielded from losses while still positioned for gains when markets recover. So kind of like a life insurance policy has protection for it. The gains may not be as significant as other areas, but it's a conservative gain, and it's a guaranteed income option. So the annuities are tax deferred, so your money grows without being taxed on it. Once you start using the funds, then you're taxed on the funds that you use at that time. Like I said, guaranteed income options, long-term stability. So it's a marathon, not the sprint. Fixed annuities provide consistent, predictable growth that supports multi-decade retirement planning. So it's not something that is instant, but yet is built for the long term. So probably recommended to let it stay in there for probably a minimum of 5 to 10 years to get some growth out of it. So growth potential is index-based returns. You earn interest calculated based on the performance of the market indexes like the S&P 500, NASDAQ, or others. So zero market exposure, balanced approach. So the way that it works is the funds grow based on the growth in the market, but it's not in the market, so it takes the risk out of losing money. So those that invest in the stock market, as the market goes down, they end up losing money. So I will add with that, I have some friends of mine who I talk to periodically, and there's a few of them that had money in their 401ks. As an example, during the COVID pandemic, the market took a downturn. They ended up losing money, and while they're getting ready to retire, they had to put off their retirement by a few years because they had lost money in their 401k, and they were depending on that to help with their retirement. So it took them a little bit of time to get back to zero and actually start gaining again. So they basically had to put off their retirement by 3 to 5 years or more. So it's a unique structure, means you participate in the market gains subject to caps or participation rates, while the principal remains untouchable by market losses, and it's designed for investors who want growth without sleepless nights. Next slide. So how does index linking work? So index selection, like I said, it's based on the S&P 500, offering diversified market exposure, crediting methods. Insurance companies use caps for maximum return, spreads, so fees deducted from the gains, or participation rates. So what they do is they cap your gains, and I'll show that in a minute on another slide. But you're still going to get some gains. The important thing is you're going to have zero risk of losing money. So whatever money is in there, the worst you can do is have a 0 year. But when the market goes up and does well, you're going to make some money based on the funds you have in there. So annual reset, many annuities lock in gains annually, meaning your new floor becomes last year's gain, ratcheting up your guaranteed minimum. Predictable growth, while you don't capture every penny of market upside, you'll achieve steady, moderated growth without any downside risk. So as an example, if the S&P 500 gains 15% and your cap is 8%, you earn 8%. When the market drops 20%, you earn 0%, but crucially, you lose nothing. And like I said, what struck me when I first found out about annuities, so going into that dinner and getting the information that we got, I had no clue, no idea what annuities were. All I was told through the years, and my parents told me, put your money into a savings account and save your money. And then as I started working, got further into my career, everybody says, put money in your 401k, max out your 401k. But nobody said that by putting your money in your 401k, it's at risk when the stock market takes a dip. And what I learned that night when we first went to that dinner was when the money's in a 401k, it's an extreme risk because when the market takes a downturn, you can lose money on your in your account. And what the other thing that they said that stuck with me was we're due for a downturn in the market. And then what happened, COVID came along and the market hit a downturn. But in today's reality, even though things are kind of doing fairly well, we really haven't hit that big downturn yet. And we're really overdue. A lot of the experts really think that we're due for a pretty big downturn in the near future. We don't know when that's going to come. But so in my case, I feel definitely more comfortable that we've taken some steps to secure a nice part of our retirement income. Next slide. So lifetime income options. So it's like adding a pension plan to your portfolio. I have a pension plan. My wife's going to have a pension plan. So the annuity we have is like adding an additional pension, and it's a guaranteed income. So it creates predictable cash flow. So every month we'll get, like I said, that pension, and every month get a cash flow from it that we'll know what we're going to get month after month. So optional income riders, there are enhanced guarantees available for additional fees, provide even greater income certainty. Retirement security, so it's a supplemental Social Security and pensions covering essential expenses throughout retirement. So one thing that people find out these days, we're living longer and longer. So it's not a matter of having income. It's a matter of having a predictable income month after month to take care of unexpected expenses. And for those, like those of you like myself who kind of feel, things keep going up and up, having an extra pension or another Social Security type fund to help some of those expenses help a lot. And for me, it helps me sleep better at night, most definitely, because I kind of I don't worry about those type of things, when I'm awake and out and about doing things. But the minute my head hits a pillow, things that I worry about keep me awake. So I definitely like to sleep better. Next slide. So who can benefit most? So my take on this is anybody can benefit, except if you're very, very young, like a child or a baby. Probably doesn't make sense to do that, but especially pre-retirees, individuals within 5 to 10 years of retirement who want to protect accumulated wealth while maintaining growth potential. So if you value security over speculation, and and peace of mind over maximum returns, fixed index annuities deserve serious consideration in your retirement portfolio. So again, it's a very conservative type game. So somebody else who could benefit is somebody who's doesn't want a lot of risk in their portfolio. So risk averse investors, those who have been burned by market volatility or simply can't afford to lose principal at their life stage, and income seekers who want to create guaranteed lifelong income streams that provide consistent cash flow regarding the market conditions. So it's a steady way to create an extra income and secure, like there may be other ways to get more, but the key is take away the volatility risk. Next slide. The why peace of mind matters. Financial stress reduction, stability eliminates the constant worry about market crashes, wiping out your retirement savings. You can focus on living rather than obsessing over the portfolio. Market confidence, when headlines scream about market turmoil and everyone else panics, you remain calm knowing your principal is protected, your income is guaranteed. So life focus, freedom to enjoy retirement, travel, hobbies, family time without constantly checking account balances or fearing the next market downturn. It was kind of a peace of mind as well. Next slide. The summary: safety meets opportunity, retirement income solutions, long-term confidence. So it's like I said earlier, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Next slide. So this is very important too, and I have some experience with this as well. Not myself or my immediate family, but my parents. My parents are older. They're approaching. They're quite a bit older, but they both have some health problems, and so a fixed index annuity can help as you get older. There's long-term care policies out there. There's other things, but the thing is, if you don't have something to help with some of the expenses that may come up that you may not have accounted for, a fixed index annuity can help you do that. So the optional long-term care riders are available in the annuities. So like it says, available on many annuity contracts, providing targeted coverage for long-term care needs, expense coverage, access funds specifically to help cover costs of nursing homes, assisted living, or in-home care services, enhanced benefits that you can help double or triple your income while it's needed, whether it's a short-term or long-term. Asset protection, so you don't have to dip into your life savings to help pay for expenses as you get much older and you need significant care. Unfortunately, my parents never had the opportunity to get any kind of long-term care. All they did is just, what they believed was the best thing to do is just save as much money as they possibly could. What we're finding out now is we're going through some of that savings. Fortunately for them, they're still at home, still able to function. The two of them together kind of almost function as one, but it's become significantly more expensive for a lot of things that they need. And actually in just hiring somebody to help us out and help them out, that's another little added expense. So next slide. So guaranteed income. So even the ultra wealthy prioritize guaranteed income. So it doesn't matter how much money you have. So when someone earns millions per year, you might think they wouldn't worry about guaranteed income. Yet the wealthiest individuals often make financial security the top priority because they understand that high income doesn't automatically equal lasting wealth. So the difference is earning a lot and keeping a lot comes down to smart planning, protection, and guarantees. So the next slide we're going to get into talks about a real world example that illustrates why even celebrities and athletes value the principles behind fixed index annuities. Now we have Shaq. Does anybody not know who Shaquille O'Neal is? Well, it looks like everybody knows Shaq. So Shaq obviously is very successful. He made a lot of money in the NBA and currently makes a significant amount of money through all of his endorsements and commercials. It's like every time you turn on the TV, there's a commercial featuring Shaq in there. But what's important is early in his career, when he was very, very young, Shaq was just going through his money because he didn't know any better, and it was said that he spent like $1 million early in his career, like in a day, and he started worrying about how he was going to have income later in life. And as we see in the news, so many athletes that are very successful and very good at what they've done are ending up at the end of their careers or shortly after that broke because they weren't responsible with their money and had nothing to fall back on. So click on the link, Saul, and then there's a Shock's going to talk about what he did.
I used to see this rich guy, really rich, older, 80, old Rolls Royce, and I asked him, I said, how? And he told me a word I never heard. Very sharp. You need to invest in an annuity. And I never knew what it was. And I looked it up because I was making so much money from commercials and all, I didn't know what to do with it. And he said, yeah, all this money you're making, if you put it away, you can invest it and you can start collecting at 50, 60, and 70. So that was my greatest investment.
There it is.
I used to see this rich guy, really.
Go ahead, next slide. So that Jerry had asked for the link to be shared. You can go to YouTube and type in Shaquille O'Neal and annuities, and that'll come up there as well. So it's not known how many annuities that Shaq has. I would say he probably has more than one. So what Shaq does, he doesn't rely on his endorsements and all his different businesses for his income necessarily, especially for income later in life as he gets older. His annuities, he's taking care of that issue. So he has income regardless of how he does in his business ventures. So how annuities fit his bigger picture. So it's predictable income, guaranteed payments, continue regardless of the market conditions or business performance or economic cycles. So like I said, he doesn't have to worry about income. He can take a lot of risk, which I'm sure he probably does, but he's done very well with his business ventures as well. So it's just an extra reward, but he has the peace of mind to do what he wants to do and not have to worry about the risk of losing money if he has issues with any of his business ventures. So protection creates confidence, knowing basic needs are covered forever, allows for bolder decisions with other investments. Freedom to grow with a guaranteed foundation. You can pursue growth opportunities without risking your financial security. So that was important for Shaq. So the take on that is, even though We may not be in a position where we're millionaires and can do that. We can take the concept of that and provide some protection for ourselves wherever we are in our life, especially with our financial portfolio. So take some protection and do some of that. It doesn't matter the scale, it's just doing it. So you can book a one-on-one strategy session with myself. The link is there, or any of the advisors here with Truvere Financial. You can go to truverefinancial.com and there'll be a link there to book a session with any of our advisors here. Next slide. So again, next one is just my contact information. Once again, my email, my phone number. If you have any questions or anything, I'd be happy to answer them for you. So once again, this is just a purely informational presentation. It's not a sales presentation, but something I firmly believe in, and I believe that anybody and everybody can use this concept to help with their financial future. So thank everybody for showing up and coming. Have anybody have questions now? Let me look in the chat.
Yeah, if anyone has questions now, let's hear them. Guaranteed income. Everybody's kind of good on how the annuities work conceptually. Of course, every carrier is different, and there's a lot of different carriers with different products and riders and stuff like that. But
so with that,
it's another tool.
With the different carriers, one of the carriers that we work with, they have bonuses on their annuities. They have several different type of annuities available. But I know one of their annuities, when we took out our annuity, they offered a 25% bonus on any money over a certain. There was a minimum amount you could put into it. It gave you a 25% bonus on top of that. So if you put in 100,000, to give you an extra 25,000 to add to your money, to your income. And then as time went on over the years, that company actually added more money into it, and they added up to a 50% bonus on money. Now I believe it's about 45% or so, and then there's some other lower bonuses based on the different provisions. But some of the companies are offering substantial bonuses to add on to your money that's available for income.
Nice. Okay, so it looks like we got some questions in the chat, so we'll just work through them. So Jerry said, why would you implement this into a financial portfolio? So Steve, do you want to do that one, or Justin, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of chime in on this just because of my past experience. So first and foremost, I want to thank everyone hopping on. As you know, the founder and CEO of Truvere Financial, we want to provide as much information as possible, and as you continue to learn about the different products. But to answer your question, Jerry, why would you implement this into a financial portfolio? Really, this can be utilized as multiple things. This can be the bond allocation in your equity bond portfolio. This can provide a supplemental guaranteed income. The thing is when we have $1 million portfolio, let's say if it's built up inside of a 401k or built up inside of an IRA, how could we turn that into lifetime income, right? Usually people go off the 40 or 4% rule. So if you built up $1 million, that's only 40K. And then that's not including the taxes you do have to pay. So what this does, it acts as a supplement. Again, it's your own, like Steve was saying earlier, it's your own personal pension plan. So again, it's another way to add additional income without having to rely on, let's say, just Social Security or just your investment portfolio. So it can serve multiple purposes in that matter.
Very nice. All right, next we got Brandon said, how much is it to potentially start one?
Okay. Yeah, I'll kind of chime in on that one too. So it's going to depend on the different products. There's going to be different products that have a lower minimum. Some are 10,000, some are 20,000, and it's just a one-time dump in, one-time lump sum, right? So the more you have in there, the more it compounds, the more it grows. Just like what Steve was saying, there are bonus structures, and we've been able to make a lot of people a lot of money just within those bonus structures. And what that does, though, to clarify and to be transparent, is that that adds to your income bucket. That's the income that you're pulling money out of, right? So these are lifetime income annuities. So what is an annuity? It's it's income for even when you run out of money. It's lifetime income, no matter how long you live, right? So that's again, so I probably went on a tangent there, but the minimum is 10,000 or 20,000, depending on the product.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Great questions here. We have someone that said, you say the gains are conservative. What's the average?
What's the average gain? I mean, you guys can chime in as well too, but I will say this, that it comes down to where you're allocated, right? And it comes down
Yeah.
to the person. So there's different indices that you can allocate towards, some towards the S&P, some towards some volatility controlled indices where you're not going to get outrageous, outlandish type of returns, but you're also going to have very safe and productive returns. So if I were to give you a
Right.
number, and it's kind of hard to say a number just because it fluctuates from, I would say if you want to be conservative, 6 to 8% over a long period of time. So just again, and
Mm-hmm.
that's without any downside risk. But I mean, if anyone else wants to chime in on that side.
Yeah, I would add to that that's a general um, figure, but that's why it's important to meet annually and go over that, and then basically adjust it. Depends on where the market is and what your goals are. So it's not, once you get the annuity, it's not like you're in whatever the indexes that you initially start. It can be changed every year. You just have a period of time where you can make that change and adjust it. So it's something that you want to kind of stay on top of, and as the responsibility is on the advisor to also to keep abreast of those things and kind of see what's going on in the market.
Right. Great. Thank you. So next one, Edie says, what happens to the annuity when I die and how does it affect taxes? That's a great one. Steve, do you?
So the annuities, the income that's in there, you'll have a beneficiary for the funds that are there, and then the beneficiary could continue that. And there's different clauses and the annuities work in different ways where you could have somebody else do could have access to the income as well at the same time. And then the other part was taxes. So actually, so in the case of I'm not sure how it works with the case of a death of one of the annuitants with the tax part of it. Maybe Justin can answer that one.
Uh, which one, as far as how does it affect taxes?
Yeah.
So like what happens to the annuity when I die? How does it affect taxes? So it really depends on what chassis you have it in, right? If you rolled it from a 401k, that's technically a qualified chassis, right? A qualified plan. So if it's inside of an annuity, technically it's an IRA now. So whatever you have in there, plus gains, I mean, it's going to be taxed whatever at whatever rate, right? So whoever the beneficiaries are, they're going to have to pay taxes on whatever is in there, right? Since it's transferred from a qualified plan. So let's say, for example, if it's 100,000 and your tax rate's 20%, then you'll net 80,000, right? And then that's not including the gains. So yes, it does have an effect when it comes to the death benefit component. But you also could have other riders where the income can continue, right? You can add income to the beneficiary. So that's another, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts in this. So that's another component to it as well.
For sure. And if you need specific tax questions answered, we have our very own Geraldine, who is a fantastic tax strategist, to answer, and she is qualified to answer those questions because that's not our realm. But next question. Gary said, what specific problem is these annuity designed to solve? Income certainty, principal protection, market participation, or tax deferral? And I guess I'll take this one. So, I mean, it's designed to solve all of those, right? The guaranteed income, that's going to be probably the biggest one. Principal protection, that you're not going to lose money. And then you still get to make some gains with the market participation in the indexed annuity. But of course, you're going to sacrifice unlimited upside for a guaranteed market downturn protection, right? And now with annuities, they are tax deferred products. So you will pay taxes on withdrawals at a later date. You're deferring taxes for a later date.
Right.
You guys want to add something to that? Or I'll move to the next one. This is okay, perfect.
No, I think
it just says iPhone 3.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, go
No,
ahead, Justin.
I think you hit it on the nail with that one. Because the thing is, I mean, yeah, it does provide income certainty. It does have principal protection. It's indexed, so you have downside protection, upside potential, right? I'm just looking at it, market participate. Yeah, it checks everything off the box or off the list of what you put there.
Sweet. So iPhone 3, I don't know your name, but I'm going to call you iPhone 3. He said, or she said, am I able to pull out of my current 401k to move to an annuity without penalty? Is that 10 to 20k to start? Is there monthly payments after that? Do you want to take this one?
So yes, you can do that. The penalty you would pay depends on what age you're at, whether you're 59 and a half or not, as far as the penalty goes. So if you're younger than age 59 and a half, you would pay the penalty for pulling out of your 401k.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then for monthly payments after?
Oh yeah, I'll add to that one. So for this, like what Steve was saying, is am I able to pull out of my current 401k to move into annuity without penalty? So like you said, it does depend on age. And then now there also are companies where this is, again, it can go hand in hand with this, right? So there are companies where you can do an in-service transfer and you can move over your current employer 401k. You can. However, there are some stipulations with other companies where even if you're past the age of 59 and a half, you can't move your 401k unless you're either retired or have left the job. So again, so that's all, I mean, that's up in the air. It depends on your company's provisions. Is that 20k to start? Is there monthly payments after that? No. If you want to do that 10 to 20k and just do it as a one-time lump sum, you don't have to make any monthly payments. But you do have 18 months to put in more money if you wanted to. So that year and a half, if you say, hey, you know what, I actually want to put a little bit more in, that it still allows you to account for the bonuses as well. But again, it's I hate to say it this way, but again, it all depends, right? It's going to be a lot of my answers are going to be it depends. So because everyone's situation is different.
Actually, that's a good answer because that is the truth. It depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, case by case. All right, next one. Carisha said, where do you see annuities fitting best in real life portfolio, and where do they not make sense? Specifically, what types of people or financial situations should avoid them altogether? Also, how do you think about opportunity costs when allocating capital into an annuity, especially for business owners who could otherwise reinvest that money at higher returns? So that's a lot to unpack. If I can start, I would love to take a little whack at this. And so you got to think of these products as, you know, another tool in your tool bag. So it's a lot of preference. It's a lot of, like you're saying, weighing out the opportunity cost, right? Because you are tying up capital. You can't just pull money out whenever. There are penalties that come with that. And depending on the length of the contract, more stipulations, but I won't get into that. So I guess it's more about diversifying. You know, if you're very focused on making as much return as possible, then, you know, there's other places that might fit your risk tolerance better, right? But if you're someone who's just very conservative, you're like, I don't want to lose anything. I have this chunk of money. I don't care to invest. I don't care to learn, you know, because you have to learn real estate. You have to learn stocks. You have to learn what you're doing. So that's going to vary from person to person. But the sure thing is, it's that it's a conservative and guaranteed product, right? All right, I got to read over this question a little bit more. But yeah, people that might not benefit. I don't know if you guys want to take a crack at that one.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you, Carisha, for that question. So again, it's like what Saul was saying, there's a level of risk, right? So this is the thing is if you allocate a portion of that portfolio and then reinvest it into something that's higher risk. I mean, yes, there is a level of opportunity cost, but this is the way that I view it. If you have something that's guaranteed, a portion of it, let's say 10 to 20% of your portfolio, then that 80, 70, 80%, you can go take all the risk that you want with that because now you can go confidently because you know that that's secure, right? So that's where you can even take more risk versus the level of risk, you know, when you go all in on something, what's the likelihood of that actually having a return, right? Unless you cross your T's and dot your I's and know that this is an educated investment, then yes, you know, so that's the difference between the two, I would say, because that can give you the more confidence to take more risks. So you have a portion of your portfolio that's guaranteed. So now let's go and go over here and say, you know what, I'm going to go all in on this business venture here, but I know that I have this safety net and this cushion over here to supply me with income as well. So that can, you know, that's the thing. That's where we're trying to hedge our loss or hedge our bets against that. So specifically, what types of people or financial situations should avoid them altogether? So, that's again, it's a depends type of thing because I will say this: I did have a client who is younger, around my age, and won a very sizable lawsuit because of where he stayed at, and he's my age. He allocated his funds obviously towards mutual funds. Obviously towards a CD, which he didn't really get a great return there, but he also allocated it into an indexed annuity, and he has had the most gain with the index annuity. The mutual funds just provide him the income and dividends. So with that situation, I mean, yes, you can allocate towards the annuity and just set and forget it, but as far as again, like I said, it depends, right? If you want to take off some risk off the table in your portfolio, I would say allocating some towards that indexed annuity, right? Because that does provide that guaranteed income, that safety net for you.
Yeah, let me add to that, Justin. So in the like Shaq, the example with Shaq, he took a portion of his money, secured it in annuities, so he has income regardless of what happens the rest of his life. So he took other portions of his income and he invested in his businesses and his other ventures, where his concern is not if he's going to make money or not. He can take a lot of risk because he has set aside enough money to provide a guaranteed income. So that's how the annuities play in. It's not an end all be all. It's for an overall financial portfolio. It's part of it, and the importance is to guarantee an income for the rest of your life and take away the risk of the stock market. So that's where I see how annuities work.
Nice. Alrighty, next one. Jerry said, what are the most common reasons clients regret purchasing this type of annuity? I guess what I would say would be just, again, tying up the capital, right? It's not a liquid asset. It's for you let it sit and forget about it, right? And then iPhone said, is the ride extra monthly payment, or the rider? Is it an extra cost? Gentlemen?
Yeah, so that is not an extra cost. So since you're leaving that as a lump sum into the annuity, I mean, again, you can add riders. I think it's not an extra cost. It's more so along the lines of how you want to take the income, right? Because there's different income, I guess income strategies with an annuity. So if you want to take an even amount, right, there's a level payment that you can take, or if you want to take a lower amount up front and then have it increasing with inflation, you can do it that way with increasing income. So it just depends on how you want to distribute that income. It's not necessarily an extra monthly payment or extra fee or anything like that. It's just going to account for how much you get based off what income style you want, right?
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. All right, DD asked a question, is there a withdrawal penalty? But we answered that question, so we'll move on to the next one. Yes, you're welcome, Carisha. Definitely. Let's see, Jerry said, asking for a friend if someone already has an annuity, what red flags suggest they should not do a 1035 exchange, and what makes an exchange justified? Justin, you want to take this one?
Okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to. No, I'm just kidding.
This one's right up your alley, Justin.
Yeah, so let me go back to the question okay, asking for if what red flag should they not do in an exchange, and what makes an exchange justified? Okay, so when you submit for rollover, if it's going from annuity to annuity, and they're barely into that brand new one, let's say it's 1 to 2 years, I wouldn't do a 1035. That's way too early. It's just way too early during this, and they go through a suitability process too. So mind you, in the application process, uh, they will either approve you based off if it's suitability. That's the fiduciary standard that the financial company has, right? So if it's suitable, does it make sense? So that I would say if they're only 1 or 2 years into the annuity, it does not make sense to do a 1035 at all. And I would say leave it, let it grow, right? Maybe if they're 5, 6, 7 years into the annuity, maybe that might make sense because of the bonus structures in other products. So now, well, that kind of answers your second question. Now, if it's from 401k to annuity, then that's where, okay, how much do you want to allocate towards that? You can do a partial transfer, you can do a full transfer, right? It's just how much risk do you want to take off of the table and how much income do you want to have in retirement, right? So that's going to be, and then looking at the overall financial picture. Okay, so you have your 401k, let's say you have a pension, let's say you have a brokerage account or a Roth IRA, right? This all works in conjunction with each other. So it just comes down to, okay, what do you want to put aside that's going to guarantee you a lifetime income? Like regardless, let's say you wanted to allocate some towards an annuity to cover all your living expenses. So then that way, like what I said to Carisha earlier, is that now you can go and take more risk into other business and ventures. So you have all your expenses paid for. So now you can go out there and take some more risk. So yeah, so that's what makes it justified is again, it's another it depends type of situation. And that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Hey, Justin, I want to add my experience with our annuity. So we took out the annuity back in 2020, and a few years later, we evaluated it, and we decided we were looking to maybe move it into a different annuity and compared uh, the bonuses and that. Even though we had to pay a little bit of a surrender charge, it made sense for us to take the money we had in the original annuity, close that one out, and put it into a new annuity because the bonus was offered was higher in the second instance than the first. So it made sense from a financial standpoint to go ahead and do that. So I checked with my financial advisor, and he advised us to go ahead and do that. So it can make sense to do that as well. But again, the importance is being into it a few years. Within 1 to 2 years, definitely would make sense. But beyond that, it might definitely make sense.
Cool. And then last question.
Well, we got two of them. So Jerry said, what are some questions we didn't get to ask? Well, let's answer Carisha's last question here. So she said, how should someone evaluate the long-term trade-offs of liquidity, control, and fees with an annuity, especially if their financial situation or goals change before retirement? So, it's I hate to say it again, but it's a kind of case by case, right?
For me, I think it's smart to take a portion of your overall portfolio and put it into an annuity. So you lose risk for it, you gain a permanent income for the rest of your life. So it doesn't mean your whole entire portfolio doing that. A portion of it, like Justin talked about earlier, is a tool in your toolbox. If you're doing remodeling in your house, you're gonna have to have different tools in your toolbox. Might not make sense bringing out a sledgehammer to hammer a nail. You want a regular hammer for that. So it's different tools for different situations.
Absolutely. Yeah. And go ahead, Justin.
Oh yeah. So I think when you can you do okay, yeah, so case study. Okay, cool. Sorry, I just saw that next question come in the long-term trade-offs with liquidity and controls, especially with an annuity. Yes, I do agree that, if this is something that's a set and forget, I mean, this is an awesome vehicle. But if it's something that you need to tap into in the events of, let's say, an opportunity, then I mean that's where it's like, you know what, it may not be a good fit, right? I think that's the thing is like, like we'd be happy to direct you to direct you to somewhere else if this is not a good fit, right? So again, it's like if this is something that you're going to constantly be tapping into, that's where a whole nother conversation we talk about is with infinite banking. So that's a whole nother different concept right there. So and having the dollar do more than one job. But as far as the annuity and the use case that it has, this is just something that's going to provide that lifetime income, that it's very conservative. It can even be the bond allocation in your portfolio. I mean, I know someone, Tom Hegna, has like 18 annuities, right? So it just comes down to, what you are, like what your risk tolerance is, and what it comes down to, what you want to do in terms of business, in terms of your long-term investing, in terms of all of that. And if it's not a good fit, then I suggest annuity is probably not the route you should go. So just to be transparent.
Like seeing about how it's going to set you up for the next, like while it might set you up for the future, is it going to set you up wrong for if you just tied up all your capital and now you're limiting your growth that you could be making right now?
Exactly.
Jerry, Jerry made a great suggestion, which was to kind of do a case study for the next time we talk about annuities. But one last thing I wanted to add to Carisha's comment here or question was that, like Justin said, with infinite banking, right? Say you start, you find out about annuities right now when you're younger, and you then start figuring out all the different strategies we help clients with, because without getting into the different products or anything like that, you could, grow money in a cash value life insurance account. And then years later, after that cash value has blossomed into a nice big chunk, you could take a big chunk out via loan and then dump it into an annuity, guarantee some income. And then, there's a different strategy as to why that's doable and not, it's hard not to get into that to understand why that's doable, but it's just a different strategy. So it could be later on down the line, but for sure, just making sure you don't position yourself wrong in the short term, trying to position yourself good in the long term, right?
Yeah.
So if there's any last questions, throw them in or just shout them out. I know we've stuck it through to the end here, so I appreciate everybody staying on. Speak now, forever hold your peace. All right, guys. Well, as Steve said, you guys can reach out. Please join us next week. We'd love to have you. And if you have any more questions, bring them with you to the next one. The Q&A doesn't have to be specifically about this. We can always dive into other stuff. So thank you again. I hope everyone has a great rest of their night, and I hope to see all of you at the next one. All right, everybody. Have a great one.
Great evening.
Bye.
Bye.